This happened an hour ago, and I'm still shaking in fear about how my life will now become from now on. There's two situations that leads to the conclusion of the FU. First situation, asked sister-in-law to borrow her 360 pocket camera for a trip wife and I are soon vacationing to. Found out the memory card still had content. Her husband travels a lot, and she made a 1-hour POV-style 360 porn video assuming sent to him a while back. I've had the hots for her for the past 8+ years. Before she got married, and I have, there were several times sexual tensions arose between the two of us. Living together for a year as strictly roommates, movies, dinners, getting drunk while watching movies just the two of us, breakfasts, etc., a certain trust, or test, was implemented and nothing ever happened between the two of us, as at the time I was dating my now wife, which was working at a distance. But damn it, at the time, if she just had touched my hand once back then, I think I would have lived a whole different life. So finding this video, I thought I struck gold. I could have what I've always fantasized about, gifting my past self while living my happy current life. Second accident. I have an automated house that lights up the house with geolocation. Before the app worked with Apple HomeKit, a third-party app needed to be downloaded which tracks your family and friends. Free version only allows you to add one person, so my wife. Wife and I have had this app for 3 years now, even if it's useless now after an app update a couple years back on the original app. We never deleted it since it was so useful for tracking each other using notifications. I get a notification when she's at work, and when I arrive at work, we also both get notifications when one arrives home. Good for times where she does groceries, for example, and I get a notification to prompt me to go out and help her out. Or when I work late and finally leave the office, prompting her to set up the dining table. Last night, she fell asleep without charging her phone. I hate when she does that. Today, she goes to work with barely any battery. What if she needs to call the police or hospital for an emergency? I have the day off today. Today was the day I do the deed. I don't only go with simple 360 video, but literally set it up on my VR headset in bed with AirPods on. The whole experience. This would have lasted me tops 5 minutes, but the foreplay she does is long and boring. Then the action starts and I go on. Wife's phone didn't give a notification as she arrived because of her now dead phone. She comes to the bedroom to see me masturbating in bed with VR goggles on. She knows I masturbate occasionally, but never saw me do it. I sneak it in here and there. But VR porn was never discussed as an "is it cheating if" thing. You know the convo I'm talking about. Is it cheating if you have a sex doll? Is it cheating if it's a robot? Is it cheating if you put a pleasure toy on and someone from across the internet strokes you in real time, etc.? It was the type of convo we'd have at the very start of our relationship, when we were still friends 10 years ago, to see how far one could take it. Weird, I know, but let's say it was one of these pre-game convos to see if we're on the same page before things started getting serious. Pre-game convos were not only about sex, by the way. Anyways, VR wasn't a thing back then, so was never discussed. So I never knew if it was right or wrong for me to do so. I guess it was wrong since she rushed in and ripped the goggles from my face. That's when I see her in the room. "The fuck?" she says. Then she looks inside. "Is that my sister?" I'm fucked. She still had her shoes on from arriving, so she just grabbed her bag with the VR headset and left the house. Seeing from the tracking app, she's at her parents' house, which are neighbors of the sister-in-law. I'm fucked. Update. So basically, this is what happened tonight. Once my wife arrived at her parents' house, that's when I received notification her phone was back on and charging. Some people asked about the app. It's called Life 360. It also gives battery percentage notifications when it runs low, or when phone is back on. I was already typing the long story on Reddit when suddenly that notification appeared, which I last minute checked and wrote she was at her parents' house before posting. So basically, after posting. After feeling a bit better by telling someone and having a bit of weight off my shoulders, I was pacing around the apartment while trying to give her calls after calls, but it kept saying her phone was busy. This went on for 45 minutes, or forever, couldn't focus on the time. All of a sudden, the sister-in-law calls. I ignored. I was way too scared to face this. She called 5 times in a row while I just watched it ringing. Then she gave up. Then just a text saying, "Call me." I left the apartment and decided to go watch a movie at the theater. Needed to get distracted, which didn't help as I didn't focus once on Detective Pikachu. I received a call from my wife during the movie, but I ignored. She knows I have an Apple Watch and I receive all notifications, so she knows I was ignoring. She only called once. Sister-in-law 3 more times during the movie. I left the theater and decided to go back home. On the drive back, I received notification she arrived home. Now I was petrified. But my out-of-body experience just told me, fuck it, suck it up, just get it over with it. Arrived home. Was getting ready for the shitstorm about to happen. That out-of-body experience came back really quickly to reality as I got to the door and then had that fear again. I know she got notification I was back. I get in the house and both wife and sister-in-law are in the living room on the couch. I didn't say anything. Wanted one of them to speak first. What if I said sorry, but there was nothing to be sorry about? At this point, I was trying to gauge the mood. I'm not for confrontations or leading conversations. I'm very introverted. But I know I should be the first to say sorry but didn't know how. Wife then says, I spoke to sister-in-law about what happened. She knows. Fucked up in the head of me, out of reflex says, knows what? She says, don't lie, the video. I was red flushed, I'm sure. My heart was beating so fast. Then wife said she has deleted the video. This is when I apologized to both of them so very much, almost crying. I saw all the Reddit comments about divorce and all, and I was really upset at myself, but deserved it, but not, but yes, but no. Then sister-in-law speaks. She says, you do understand this video wasn't for you. Then she goes on for 10 minutes to tell me what I already know. I was wrong. I kept nodding. But then this drama comes out that fucked with me. She said that it wasn't for her husband neither. He's been constantly traveling to Bulgaria voluntarily at any chance he could for work, but also, through the years, he's been having an affair with a colleague there, which works at that branch. She knew for a while and let it slide, as he was still providing for sister-in-law. But the providing became less and less. Wife knew too about this as she and her sister are so close, but the info was kept within the family to avoid dishonor. This is a big Eastern mentality to have, and it's not the first time family info was kept secret from me. But now they told me because of the circumstance, I was told not to apologize or speak to her husband, as he does not know about this video. Sister-in-law is seeing someone else. Her husband and her both live as roommates for now. The divorce word can never go out, but she's found someone long distance, and that video was for him. The reasons for all the calls was to not mention anything to her husband. Sister-in-law feared that if I did, then this video would have been proof held during divorce process as if she was at fault. It was a very emotional afternoon. I felt like throwing up many times. The focus was more on sister-in-law and her life though, and her shame for having kept her relationship going as long as it has. The guy is barely leaving any money on the side for her anymore, so she's been sleeping more and more at her parents' house. Me obtaining the video didn't come up more than once. I don't know if it was because it was too embarrassing for everyone or what, but it will come up another day for sure. Maybe after everyone has relaxed and tears dried, I'll have an honest conversation with my wife about my wrongdoings, and also include if VR porn is fine or not. For tonight, my wife invited sister-in-law to stay and sleep over. We got some food and drank a few bottles of wine to make us forget a bit, although it felt awkward as fuck. Sister-in-law seemed to be feeling better. She was smiling and laughing and slapping my shoulder or kicking me under the table every time I made a joke. She seemed more open with me now. I was one of the people to know her secret, she could trust and talk to if she needs. We will all 3 sleep in sleeping bags in the living room like camping to keep her company during this tough time for her. Wife seemed okay for now too. TLDR, masturbated in VR with sister-in-law's 360 porn video, got caught in the act by wife, now feeling out-of-body experience and don't know what's going to happen to my life. Throwaway Confession 123. I read this when it first came out. Never saw the third edit, but what really got me about the second edit is that he wasn't sure he needed to apologize. Dude must watch way too much porn to think his wife and her sister would be okay with what happened. Skeptical Reader 89. Plus, he thought the issue was that he was watching VR porn, not because it was a private video from his wife's sister. Real Talk 247. Right, like this guy was so dense. Even if VR porn is deemed acceptable, there is no scenario on Earth where masturbating to any image of my sister is okay. Add in the violation to my sister as well, and there is just no coming back from that. Not your average Joe. I mean, even if you could get over that, the whole "if she so much as touched my hand before I married my wife, I'd have a whole other life" bit is definitely going to make me want to divorce him. Like, what the fuck? Drama Watcher 88. Then, when he was caught, this man legitimately thought going to see a cartoon in a theater right in the middle of betraying his family was a great idea. Dude was straight up living on the moon. Serious Commenter 42. I couldn't get over the fact that he thought that there was room to have a discussion about VR porn after this. Like, what, dude?